Hey everybody, welcome to Operation Stealth Passenger. Today is my niece Megan's first IOE flight as a first officer with
SkyWest Airlines.
And she happened to be doing those flights right here in DFW. So I naturally wanted to be on there because as you can see here, she's been flying with me since she was like 5. Caught the bug, and today is her first flight as an airline pilot. So her father is dropping her off at the airport, and I looked at her schedule, checked the airlines, and initially I was like, oh, she's just going to have to tell me about it later, because the flights were $880 from DFW to Lafayette, right back to DFW on a regional jet. That's insane. But about a day after I found that out, I realized that I've got a lot of miles with American Airlines, and turns out I was able to cash those in and get a round trip to Lafayette and right back here to DFW tonight for $5. Now all I have to do is make sure she doesn't see me, because I don't want her to know that I'm on this flight and for her to be distracted by that. So she'll find out later. Anyway, I guess I'm going to do some clothes changing and then go ahead and get through security. And since I'm a little early, I might go for a ride around the SkyTrain here at DFW. We'll see. Catch you later. Alright, so I'm sitting up here on the Skylink rail system that goes around the DFW terminals. And that should be Megan's airplane right there, the white and blue one that says SkyWest. Or it's going to leave and another one's going to come into that exact same gate, because that's where we're going to depart. But I'm going to get on this Skylink because they assure me that it's like a 15-minute round trip, and I want to go see airplanes. Alright, I made it back from the ride around DFW's terminals on the Skylink, and yeah, the security guy was correct. It took like 15 minutes, but I will tell you it's hot. So looks like that plane's still there, so I'm guessing that's going to be the one that I'm going to be on with Megan. And just a fun fact, 3 months before 9/11, I got hired by Delta Airlines as an aircraft mechanic, and I worked in that hangar. And it was heaven, but it only lasted a year and 10 months. Alright, I made it to the terminal without her seeing me, and thanks to the tinted windows in the terminal, I was able to get some footage of her doing her thing in the cockpit without any danger of her spotting me there as well.
Once again, welcome aboard. Thanks for joining us. We'll be on way here shortly. You haven't already fastened your seatbelt. Insert the metal fitting into the buckle and pull the strap so it is tight across.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are number 2 for departure. We'll be right here shortly. Flight attendants will be seated in the cabin.
your seatbelt fastened and door parked at the gate. The captain's turned off the fasten seatbelt sign and keep the all clear of all carry-on items.
Okay, it's the next morning. I'm on my way to work. I decided to sleep in and go in late, which was pre-planned, but I am not buying donuts for the crew because I did not oversleep, and I'm not violating the rule. So anyway, my dream of being stealthy and not letting Megan know that I was on that flight until after it was all said and done didn't work out very well. I just had to make a little hand gesture about taking a photo in the cockpit as I was boarding the first leg of her flight, and the flight attendant just threw her head in the cockpit and asked the captain if somebody could take pictures, to which he responded, "Well, is it a kid?" She said no as she was glancing at me and I was doing this. No. And she goes, "Oh, no, I think it's a secret." And so that kind of let the cat out of the bag that somebody was on the flight on behalf of Megan. So anyway, I went and sat down without her seeing me and flew the first leg to Lafayette. And then once we got there, I had to get off the plane to reboard, scan my boarding pass, and I didn't make it off the airplane before the flight attendant was like, "You can get your pictures now. Come on, you can do it." And I was like, "I want to wait until I get off the plane in DFW." But she opened the door, and at that point they weren't terribly surprised that it was me. So I got to take some pictures with Megan, which you'll see here while I'm yapping about it. And her captain was real cool, got out of his seat and let me sit there with her for a photo. So that was fun. But whenever I got back on the plane in Lafayette, they gave me this interesting seat, which isn't the one I paid for, but in that CRJ 700, right behind first class on the left side, there's row 4B. The aisle actually cuts over to the right side of the plane a little bit, so I was able to basically sit there and watch Megan and her captain go through all of their checks, and Megan getting the IFR clearance, which she nailed no problem. And that was kind of cool. So it was an uneventful flight back in the evening. Got to watch some storms off in the distance, and once we got to DFW, I got off the plane, and I didn't want to bug her anymore, and I didn't want to hold up the process, so I went ahead and walked out. But she was already able to text me before I left the gate area and say that she was coming out, because they give restroom breaks. So she came out, and we talked a little bit, and gave each other a hug, and then she went to prep for finishing her last leg of the flight, or the trip, while I drove home. And I gotta say, DFW airport is kind of a dream getting in and out of. Even if I remote park, I got a place where I remote park that's amazing and super cheap. But I parked at the terminal, and I was already home and watching Megan's flight on Flight Radar 24 and listening to her all the way to her destination on San Angelo. At San Angelo Regional Airport. So that was pretty cool. And then I stayed away just a while longer until she got to her hotel, and was able to chat with her a bit. And I apologized to her for letting her kind of know that somebody was on the plane inadvertently, but she didn't care. She said she was happy that I was there, and she always is. So she gets a day off. I get to go to an easy day of work, and then it's back to the routine. I got a house to clean. I had like 8 guests this weekend. So yeah, that's my flight with Megan on her first IOE flight. So she's off in the wild blue yonder now and doing her thing, and I'm super happy for her. So anyway, thanks for watching.